finally spooky season, meaning it's the perfect time for us game collectors to do the scariest thing we can imagine. Organizing our games. I mean, somebody has to figure out where both copies of New Super Mario Bros. Go. Oh wait, that'd be a perfect spot. I just hope that nothing really spooky happens while I'm doing this. Oh, it's just Jason. Oh, you really didn't think I would be prepared for you in the month of October? Come on, Jason. It's gonna take more than just some bloody machete to scare me. Oh. You brought that? Oh yeah, I'm gonna beat this. Yeah, this is definitely. Oh, you're about to get me. Yeah, I got ya. Oh, maybe get better at playing games. This is definitely a fun game. Like, I can't play. Alrighty, Jason. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next Friday. Okay? I'll see you next Friday. What a guy. Son of a bitch. Ow!
It's spooky month.
October, by far one of my favorite months. Not only because of that fall weather and that frightening atmosphere, but also the fact that one of my favorite genres in both video games and movies is, of course, horror. I'm not too sure why, but there's always been something so special to me about being completely scared and helpless while some unknown force of power is chasing you down. It's always been a thing on my bucket list, so if you're a serial killer, hit me up. But even if it's just cheap jump scares or a brilliant tension buildup that messes with your mind, both horror games and movies intrigue me into how scared they can actually make me. I mean, I'm not a guy who gets scared easily. I'll let you know that I've played FNAF and I've never had a situation that... I shitted my pants. Okay, maybe sometimes these horror experiences get to me, but nonetheless, the horror genre has created some iconic characters to love, and sometimes hate. And while I do think there's a hefty amount of iconic video game horror characters out there, like Pyramid Head and fucking Baldy, they have nothing on our movie icons. Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Leatherface, Chucky, Ghostface, and so many more. Horror movies by far has the most iconic cast of characters in any genre if you ask me, and while I do love their portrayals in their own movies, and even some crossovers, I've always wondered what they would be like in the virtual world. And I'm not the only one who has thought of that, because, surprise, surprise, these characters have their own video games. Some more so than others, but video games nonetheless. And as the nerd I made myself out to be, I think it'd be fitting to spend this Halloween season on playing these characters' first video game outings. And seeing how this month actually had a Friday the 13th in it, I think it'll be best to start off with the man of the hour, Jason What was his name again? Oh, thanks, Michael Jackson. It's Jason Voorhees. I'm sure most of you know about his most recent dabble with his own online multiplayer game where you get to play as the man himself while chopping up counselors in high definition. But if we rewind time to his very first video game, we'll actually find that he started with Friday the 13th, the computer game, which was on a variety of at-home computers at the time. Trust me, I tried getting this game to work on my computer for about half an hour, and it just wasn't wanting to load. So, how about instead we look at this long play video I found on YouTube because I'm feeling a bit lazy today, okay? This isn't a very good start, is it? Well, first things first, we get a nice exposition dump of the game and we are shown our 5 playable characters. Who could forget such classic Friday the 13th characters like Soulless Bob Ross, Steve Urkel in drag, that one weird Game Boy Color printer face, and 100% that's a fucking reptilian. Look, if Amanda Baxter is the most normal looking one out of this crew, then you just know that these guys aren't gonna last more than 2 minutes with Jason around. And what's even better is that they don't even match their in-game counterparts. Like, how are these both the same characters? Okay, I get it, it's a Commodore 64 game. The last thing I should be worrying about is the graphics. But why the hell does Jason look like he just came off the set of Grease? This is supposed to be Jason Voorhees? I'm more afraid that this guy is going to start knocking my school books out of my hand than just stabbing me to death. Jesus. But I hear you asking, what is the goal here? Well, from what I can tell, the whole point is to play as one of these 5 survivors and track down which one is Jason before he kills each counselor one by one. Because apparently in this game, Jason can disguise himself as a normal human being. I must have missed one hell of a movie if this is lore accurate. And of course, it's up to us as a player to find him and kill him. And from the looks of it, the best strategy to win is just to beat the shit out of everyone in the camp with random weapons until we actually reveal which one is Jason. Oh, hey buddy, is it okay if I just check if you're, Jason or not by slamming this extremely deadly axe in your face? No. That sounds like something Jason would say. However, according to this comment on this long play video, apparently another strategy is just gather all survivors to one area with this cross item and figure out Jason's identity that way. Not too sure how accurate this is though, considering the video doesn't cover it, so it beats me. But for Jason's first video game on the market, it's what you would expect out of a Commodore 64 game. Complete with crappy graphics and, for some reason, classical music. Like, no joke, there's a whole collection of random out-of-place classical music being converted into this definitely not ear-bleeding chiptune. However, that's not to say the game can't be scary, because the scream sound effect when people get murdered is terrifying. I can see this definitely scaring some kids back in 1986, and if it somehow didn't, then I'm sure these jump scares that randomly flash on the screen would. I can guarantee that some kids are still traumatized from that. However, this game kind of flew under the radar, because Jason's next game would be the infamous Friday the 13th on the NES. And while I would love to torture myself and play this all the way through and go full AVGN mode, I don't think I want to do that because today we're just focusing on characters' first video game outings, okay? Maybe another time, old friend. But even with that blunder, Jason still has a pretty nice lineup when it comes to his video games, especially in recent years. So if that's the case with Jason, then I'm sure one of the most iconic horror villains, Michael Myers, has his own array of video games, right? Oh. Yes, that's right folks. Michael V. Myers has only one official video game to his name, and that is Halloween on the Atari 2600. Look, I know these iconic characters have their own plethora of fan-made games on the internet, especially with Terradrome being one of the most popular, but when looking at Michael's official video game lineup, it's just so sad. Like sure, he's in Dead by Daylight with a buttload of other characters, but that's really it. Michael Myers deserves better than this, and I have just the way to do it. Boy, do I love being John Carpenter, the creator of the Halloween franchise. Who's that? Oh, not him again. Hello? 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 Okay, that was embarrassing. Let's just go ahead and check out this Atari game, alright? I think the second half is just a little bit off there, if you ask me. Well, here we are, playing as final girl Laurie Strode, and oh god, he's just coming right out, isn't he? Oh, jeez. Oh, I guess he's good. Jesus Christ! So yeah, this game is a high-score based game where you have to control the babysitter, Laurie Strode, and take as many kids as you can to the safe rooms on either side of the house. Because if Michael gets to them first, they're not gonna have a good time, let's just say that. The game is pretty straightforward, and the only real threat is Michael and his ear-bleeding song that follows him everywhere he goes, because ear-bleeding and old Atari songs just go so well together. Otherwise, the game is just dead silent with the exception of Laurie's footsteps. And just going from that to this is just so funny to me, I don't know why. But yeah, as you can see, the main villain is actually pretty accurate to his movie counterpart this time around, and the whole game concept is as well. Friday the 13th, find Jason as he somehow disguises as a normal human being while the player just goes around stabbing everyone. Bad. Halloween, play as a babysitter and save kids from Michael Myers. Good enough. The only main issue I have with this game though is that apparently Laurie is babysitting a whole damn school because she has way too many kids in her house. The other thing that's weird is the doors in the house because I can't tell you where they lead half the time. I know there's one door that lets you go downstairs, but That's it. All the other ones tend to confuse me, and I don't know if that's the game's fault or my mental capacities. And by the looks of it, Michael can use these doors too, so I better be I call bullshit. The game even tries to be cheeky by having one room with flickering lights, which unironically makes the game 10 times scarier, especially when it's just dead silent and you hear that theme come out of nowhere. That's your sign to, get the fuck out of there. However, after 10 minutes of playing and no goal to really accomplish, I eventually just let Michael have what he wanted. Here you go, Michael, one fresh kid coming up. If that isn't a sign that I'm a good parent, then I don't know what is. Isn't that right, daughter? Daughter? Oh, daughter, what are you doing in the microwave? Without your bottle of Raid. Well, that was Michael's first and only video game to date. Was it good? Well, it was better than the last game, I can tell you that. And I'd even play the last one. That's how you know you can trust my opinion with this stuff. While it's not too complicated to play, and there's not much substance to it at all, Halloween still pays more respect to its source material, and is somewhat fun to replay to try to get that high score. And for Michael's first game, he sure left an impact, because back in 1983, this game caused quite the controversy on video game violence. The game was even hidden by most retailers, making it quite the rare find for Atari collectors. But this wasn't the developer's first rodeo with this kind of controversy, no. Because Wizard Video Games also created a violent video game earlier that year with Texas Chainsaw Massacre on the Atari 2600, Leatherface's first video game appearance. And he has a giant dick. So yeah, both this game and Halloween were the main catalysts on making Wizard Video Games go bankrupt, because apparently back in 1983, this was considered over the top. And while we may laugh at it now, back then, the idea of controlling a chainsaw-wielding maniac where the main goal is to kill as many girls as possible was probably the worst idea to have for an industry that was mainly targeted towards kids at the time. But now, how does the game hold up? Well, like previously mentioned, Leatherface has a giant chainsaw dick, and our goal is to kill as many victims as possible to gain those sweet, sweet points. And to make this feat a bit challenging, the game throws obstacles at you like fences, animal skulls, and wheelchairs? Okay, I get that there was one main guy in the first movie that was immobilized, but you couldn't come up with anything better, Wizard Games. And you know what? While I have your attention, what is up with Leatherface's hitbox? It is so damn sensitive because all it takes is a single pixel to get caught on any of the obstacles and you're going nowhere. The only way out is to use your chainsaw, which uses up your gas meter on the top of the screen, which, if all 3 gas tanks run out, the game is over. So you better not mess up on any of those obstacles because killing teleporting girls is the game and being terrible at Atari shit is my name. And I wish I was kidding. And honestly, that's the gist of the game. Once you run out of gas, the game goes black and some random girl kicks you off the screen. I'm not too sure if this is because I didn't get enough points or it's just something to make players feel better about their questionable actions. But nonetheless, it's the ending I got and it's the ending I'm sticking with. Well, that was a fun look at 2 games that bankrupt an entire studio. Truly a goal we should all strive for. And one that I'm adding to my bucket list. So how about we go back a year and check out one more Atari game? With that being... Why could Oh yeah, it's Alien. Now, when you think of the movie Alien, I'm sure a claustrophobic sci-fi setting with this tense atmosphere of survivors dying one by one from these terrifying looking aliens come to mind. But if you ask me, it's always given me like Pac-Man vibes. Not too sure why, but let's see how the Atari version handles it. I'm just gonna say it. I'm a fucking genius. Yep, that's right. The first official Alien video game is a Pac-Man clone, and a worse version at that. Apparently you're playing as a random human here, and your whole goal is to destroy these eggs while avoiding 3 funny looking aliens. You even straight up got Pac-Man power pellets, allowing you to F up some aliens. However, there's not too much more to the game than just that. The only other thing is that in between each round, you do get to have this Frogger-style like minigame where you have to cross a sea of aliens to get this random item, all while listening to this. Well, can't deny it's an Atari game. And that's really how the Alien franchise started out in the gaming industry. But don't worry, they didn't give up here, no, because out of all the horror series we'll be discussing today, Alien by far has the most games to its name. I'm sure some of y'all are familiar with the recent games like Alien Isolation, and we don't talk about that one, but throughout the years, the Alien franchise has produced over, count with me, 40 games. Now, half of those are Alien vs. Predator games, but that's still a number that shouldn't be scoffed at, especially when we compare these numbers to the other big names we've discussed. But I think it's about time to stray away from this Atari nonsense and go back to the Commodore 64 with our next two titles, Evil Dead and Nightmare on Elm Street. We'll start things out with Evil Dead, since it's a bit simpler than Freddy's first game. Now, the Evil Dead franchise also has a surprising amount of games. Nowhere near as much as Alien, but more than your average horror franchise. But with this installment, it's clear that, and I'm trying to say this nicely, they tried their best. For example, the game begins with a long-ass tutorial with the slowest freaking text I've ever seen. No joke, this explanation of the game takes over 5 minutes, and while it does explain some key points to the game, it has no right to be as long as it is. When I first played this, it honestly felt like an eternity with the same looping 10-second song playing in the background. If there was any time I was going to go crazy, it would be this moment right here. However, there is an option to skip it, so I shouldn't be complaining too much. But what I should complain about is the stupid energy bar because it makes no sense to me. Okay, the gist of this game is to fight off these spirits of the Evil Dead with various weapons lying around the house. But every step you take and every hit you make chips away your energy from little amounts to thousands. Like, I'm not kidding. I cannot attack more than 5 enemies without me losing all of my energy. And believe it or not, losing all said energy results in one of your precious lives being taken. And I'm not even too sure if I'm even doing it right. Look, I paid attention to that long-ass tutorial, and I don't recall anything being said about this mechanic. The only end goal I know is that if you gain a certain amount of points, the Evil Dead book, aka the Necronomicon, appears, and you have to throw it into the fireplace. But my highly skilled ass got about 30,000 points, and it never showed up for me. And this is compared to a long play video I found where it appeared for someone who only had 6,000 points. So I'm not sure if it's something I'm doing wrong on my end or the game is just randomly spawning the book whenever it feels like. But nonetheless, it's stupid and dumb. However, other aspects of the game like the art and sound design aren't too terrible for a Commodore 64 game, and it has some replay value to it since it's yet another high score based goal. But did I care to beat my high score? Oh, sorry, were you saying something? Alrighty, that ends my little rant about a random Commodore 64 game. So let's start another one! Our next game is Freddy Krueger's first foray in video games, and while I originally thought it was the infamous NES game, it actually turned out to be this game. Contrary to the game's title, this game is actually based off the third installment of the Nightmare on Elm Street series, Dream Warriors. Because as we can see here, we can choose between one of the 6 cast members from that film. And hey, look at this, they even have their own special superpowers. Except Joey. No one likes Joey. For me though, I decided to choose my boy, Scott the Woz, because he has this special lightning ability and he totally didn't have the funniest death in the movie. I swear.
Name of Lorik, Prince of Elves, Demon be gone!
The game then actually starts with this overhead view of Springwood, where our first goal is to track down Freddy's house. As you can see here, we're this small little white dude, and Freddy is— oh damn, he's fucking big! Yeah, Freddy for some reason is huge in this level, and he is persistent on taking your health. It doesn't matter if you're stuck in a one-way hallway of houses, he will track you down and try his best to get his creepy little knife fingers on you. But as long as we can find Freddy's home in this maze of copy and paste houses, which Freddy's house looks barely different at all, then we can begin the next part of this game. Now, the first thing you probably notice is that, that's not the character I chose. I mean, I have the lightning ability, so it's not like the game decided to switch characters on me, but I guess this is the best they could do with the hardware? I don't know. But ultimately, it doesn't matter, because it's not like I'm looking for an immersive experience with a Commodore 64 game. I'm just here to see how bad this game can get, and Why is it so quiet? I swear, there is no music to be heard in this game besides a bit of Freddy's theme at certain points. No, not that Freddy's thing. Otherwise, all you're gonna hear is item sound effects and damage indicators, which also describes what the item does at the bottom of the screen. Like, the bat works best on skeletons. Oh, tell me about it. He's dead. And we can't forget the classic, time passes. And time passes. And time passes. If I didn't know any better, I think, and I may be wrong here, I think that time is indeed passing. Wow. That is the most useless shit that I have ever heard. Thanks, game, for reminding me how I'm spending my time wisely by playing this. What am I doing with my life? Well, how about we continue to traverse Freddy's house and try to reach our new goal, rescuing all of our friends. From what I can tell, the sidebar over here tells us the current status of our friends, as well as their locations. And while my original plan was to only meet up with Nancy, since she is the closest on floor 4 and I wasn't really planning on playing this game for more than 30 minutes, I ended up getting pretty stuck on the 3rd floor and just gave up. And maybe if these stupid enemies didn't stop spawning, I would have had an easier time. Seriously, sometimes these enemies just come out of nowhere, and they're not even that creative. I mean, skeletons, ghosts, wheelchair. Wait a fucking minute. Wheelchairs? Okay, now I'm just thinking that game developers had some kind of vendetta against wheelchairs or something, because if that's not the case, they must have thought wheelchairs were the scariest fucking things in existence back then. Oh my god, did you hear what Brad said last night? Yeah, no way. Oh yeah, totally way. And if you ask me, that's my cue to say sayonara to this game. If I'm being honest, it's not terrible. I mean, the ability to have different characters is nice, and you can even save your progress, which is pretty neat for a Commodore 64 game. But with both the sluggish traversal and combat, it just makes this game a slog to go through. And there's a reason why I stopped playing at the Nickelodeon Slime themed room. And not to even mention, Freddy is barely even in this game. From the 20 plus minutes I've played, the only time I saw him was in the first 2. How else do you expect me to hear the word bitch every other sentence? Bitch. Well, Freddy would redeem himself in the NES version of Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Oh, then the unlisted Keep Her Awake PC game? Okay, then Mortal Kombat 9 DLC? Okay, I'm gonna suspect... Well, nonetheless, I think we're reaching our end on our horror journey for today. But I do have one more game I want to look at before we finish things off. And it's surprisingly the only horror franchise that started on the original NES. What is it? Jaws the video game. This one is based off the 4th movie, which I wouldn't know because I never watched it. But it's not like the game is following some convoluted and neatly threaded plot, because the game boils down to this. Just beautiful. So yeah, all you do is sail around in your boat in this cramped sea area until you hit one of 2 things. One is a random spot where you just shoot stingrays and jellyfish to gain points and power-ups. Or 2, Jaws himself. The whole point of this is to collect these shells that are dropped by the sea creatures to get enough of them to slowly upgrade your ship and power level. I don't know why shells give you the ability to give you a shark detector, much less only 6 of them, but I'm sure the 4th movie explains it somehow. However, it's possible to get extra power-ups like a full-ass submarine that allows you to take an extra hit. I didn't end up getting this far though because I suck at these old NES games. I'm sorry. I mean, I could sit here for a couple hours and try to master the game and tell you how I got this beautiful ending, or I could tell you all about my frustrations and how much I suck at it. And I think I'm gonna go with the funner route. First and foremost, the movement. At the beginning, it's not that bad. Swimming around and shooting innocent sea creatures is fluid and controllable. But once you start leveling up and getting these crab power-ups, you then feel like you're moving on a giant block of ice because you're just slipping and sliding everywhere. And this was the main catalyst on why I died 90% of the time. I go to move out of the way of one enemy and just end up running into another and losing one of my 3 lives. Is it a skill issue? Nah. However, what makes this even more frustrating is when you're forced to dodge Jaws in certain sections. Dodging him is easy enough, considering that you can just slow him down by shooting him. But since you have other enemies in the way, it just makes for a clutter mess, and it can get even worse in these smaller bodies of water. I tried, and I mean I really tried to keep going to upgrade my ship even further, but each time you die, you lose half of your shells, and you're gonna need a lot of them to progress far in the game. I can see this being a fun, albeit repetitive game back in the day, but for today's standards, it's gonna go right where it belongs. Back into my game collection, because I don't waste money. Clearly. But even with this being our last game, it is nowhere near the end of horror movie video games. We haven't even discussed other iconic horror franchises like Chucky, Scream, and It. Like the movie It, not just It. It's such a weird title. So that's why we're going to continue this topic in a part 2 of this video, because that's right, bitches, this is a 2-parter. I sure hope I didn't give it away when I named this part 1. Did I? But for now, I'm just gonna take a little rest. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little retro look back at all these horror icons, and here's to more to come. See you guys in about like a week or 2, because these videos are kind of unpredictable to make. Don't know why. Bye!
Let the games begin.